says, encourage one another day by day, as long as it is called today. Is today today?
Yes.
Let's stand up and encourage one another then with a greeting.
Bless you. Hi, Daddy.
Take Psalm 51, Lord, and take our hearts and renew us with your Holy Spirit. Amen. Your time to preach. You ready? I want to know a time, the time in your life, a time in your life, if you had such a time, when God became more than just a faith, more than something you followed, but God became alive and real. It might have been your conversion. It might have been a baptism in the Holy Spirit. It might have been a time of retreat and silence. I don't know. You tell me in 1 minute. Okay, so keep it short. I just want to hear some stories of a time when God became real.
When I was 29, I was living in the middle of the country, potting. And
What country was that?
I was in England, back in England, just after Japan. And I started a charismatic church. And it was doing everything that charismatic churches do. It was completely new experience to me. And it brought into my life through a house group, through everything, that I should try to think of God at every moment of my life. And I think that's when I started praying always and lots of times, and just changed me.
Hey, I've been married to you for over 30 years, and that's the first time I've ever heard that. Okay, somebody else. Oh, not over 30. 30 years this year. Somebody else.
Was 12 years ago, was when I was undergoing a very hard time, and at the time I was following Jesus and His Word as it is, and I found that He became my strength and shield. That's what I felt.
You know, sometimes it's so tough to describe with words,
Yes.
isn't it? Because God just comes and there's no words that express it. Yeah. Somebody else. I did this with a class recently, and everyone said Kidoken. Kidoken. It was, oh, you Kidoken? No. And it was kind of funny. It was, yeah.
Maybe when I was 15,
Yeah.
I went to a house church, and after the sermon, the pastor just had us all pray for each other. So I prayed for somebody I didn't know, and through that, I felt like God was speaking through me to that person. And that was the first time I felt the Holy Spirit working through me. And so that really opened up God's love and His reality and His Holy Spirit to me, and it really changed my life.
Excellent. Somebody else. One more. Me too. Me too. It was a time of silence, my last one. 6-day silent retreat. No, 8-day silent retreat. I was silent for 6 days, but it was an 8-day retreat. And God just spoke so loud. Tremendous. So, anybody else? Time when God, yes.
I cannot remember the year. It's 2009 or 2010.
and I was baptized. And after that, God just miracles happened in my life. How He worked in my life, things how it changed. There's so many things I can't name them all, but that is when I realized that God is absolutely moving in my life.
It's interesting that so many people will speak of being raised in the church and believe throughout their whole life, but there comes something where God goes boom, and it just seems to fill you and change you in a new way. David was like that, King David. The stories of David, he had his little slingshot and saw the miracle of God as he defeated not only Goliath, but really the whole army. This little boy. And those kind of experiences happened with regularity with David. He knew God's power. And it was real. Then comes 2 Samuel chapter 11. Gomok Sanim preached on it a couple of weeks ago. The passage starts like this. It says, in the springtime, when kings go off to war, David sent his armies and stayed home. What was happening there? Was David had been so on fire for God for so long, he was going through now a season of coolness. He still believed, but he felt his faith was not as strong. The fire was still glowing, but not roaring. You guys go off and do the mission. You go off and do the work. I'm just going to rest this one out. And in that time of almost lukewarm faith, but not quite. He still believed. He still wanted to follow, but just other priorities were coming in. In that time, he stayed home, looked at his neighbor's house, saw Bathsheba. You know the rest. And if you don't, you're too young to know. Saw Bathsheba naked, had an affair. She gets pregnant. He calls the husband home from the front so he won't be blamed for the pregnancy. But they don't sleep together, so he sends him back to the front into a position where there was certain death. And then came the judgment of God in Nathan. And after the judgment of God, this song is attributed to him. This song traditionally has been known as the prayer that David prayed. A person who's lukewarm faith, not burning bright faith, led to sin, finds us. Now, that's David. That's all of us. We all don't sin like that. We all don't go out and murder or commit adultery. But we all have seasons. Every one of us will have a season when our fire doesn't seem as bright. When all of a sudden work or hobby or a relationship seems to take the place of God and rule our lives rather than God. and we lose our way. And we're not sure how to get back. There's a story of a prince who got tired of being a prince. You know, I was born into this. I didn't ask for this, he said. Always in the spotlight. So he took his share of the wealth, went off, and partied in a faraway country till the money ran out. And then it got worse and worse for him. And he ends up nearly starving. He's begging for bread. He's freezing in his rags. And after a time, the king sent out an emissary to invite his son to come home. The emissary hunts for the son and finally finds the son begging in the street. Hardly recognizes him. And he says to the prince, "Your father invites you to come back home and has told me to offer you anything you need. What do you need? What do you want?" And the prince had forgotten the joy. He'd forgotten that he was a prince. And he answered, "A piece of bread and a coat." But something stirred. A memory started to flame up again. Nathan came to David and said, "Look what you've done," in a very creative way. And said, "Come home." David's heart burned. It burned because he was honest with himself and saw what he did and longed to come home. Psalm 51. For all of us who may not be burning as brightly as we once did, who may look back at that first love and say, "Oh, I want that, but I don't have it now." Psalm 51 is the way home. And it's the way home we're going to take now. Right now. Could you put verse 1 through 4 on the sheet? We are going to pray verses 1 through 4 together. It's not reading it together, it's praying it together. We say it out loud, but the words are our words, our prayer. Let us pray together. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight, so that you are proved right when you speak and justified when you judge. prayer says, surely you desire truth in the inner parts. Sometimes it's most difficult to be honest with ourselves and God. So let's just close our eyes for a moment and be honest with ourselves and God. And look at where we are standing with God. Wash us, O Lord. Wash us and make us whiter than snow. And we come home to you. Amen. Next one. Next one. Oops, back one slide. Yes. Forgiven, renewed. But you want to go a step further, don't you? More than forgiven, you want to be renewed. You want a new heart. You want to desire more, to hunger for more. You want that Holy Spirit to grab hold of you again and say, look this way. No, I am with you. And so, we pray together these last 3 verses. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not let me from your presence, or take your spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. In the power of the Father, Son, and Holy